Your kid talks back, completely ignores what you say, and basically treats you like furniture in your own house. And the reason why might surprise you. So here's something nobody likes to admit. Respect isn't something kids just automatically have for their parents. It's not built into them from birth, and it doesn't magically show up when they hit a certain age. Respect is actually taught through your actions, how consistent you are, and honestly, whether you believe you deserve it. And here's the tough truth. If your kid doesn't respect you, it's because you've accidentally been teaching them that you're not worth respecting. Before you get all defensive, hang on. This isn't about you being a terrible parent. Most parents dealing with disrespectful kids are actually loving, well-meaning people who've just made a few mistakes they don't even realize they're making. These mistakes are so common in how we parent nowadays that you probably see them happening in pretty much every house on your block. The first big mistake, and honestly the biggest one, is that you don't respect yourself as a parent. You're constantly second-guessing your own decisions. You apologize for setting boundaries, like you're doing something wrong. You explain and re-explain your rules, like you need your 8-year-old's permission to enforce them. Compare these two. Can you maybe please think about possibly cleaning your room? Versus, your room needs to be cleaned before dinner. One sounds like you're begging. The other sounds like you're actually in charge. Kids are ridiculously good at picking up on uncertainty, like they can sense it from across the room. When you set a boundary, but your voice is all shaky. When you make a rule, but immediately start bargaining about it. When you phrase instructions as questions. Your kid learns that you don't really believe in your own authority. And if you don't believe in it, why on earth should they? The second mistake is being all over the place with consistency. You tell your kid no screens after 8, but then you cave 30 minutes later because they're whining and you're exhausted. You say no snacks before dinner, but then 15 minutes later, you're handing them crackers just to stop the complaining. You ground them for being disrespectful, but the next day, they're on their PlayStation like nothing happened. Every single time you don't follow through, you're teaching your kid that your words are basically meaningless. Respect needs predictability. Kids need to know that when you say something, you actually mean it. Not sometimes. Not when you're in a good mood. Always. The parent who consistently follows through earns respect. The parent who's all talk becomes background noise that kids just tune out. Here's something a lot of parents get confused about. Respect and fear aren't the same thing. You don't need your kid to be scared of you. You need them to take you seriously. Fear creates obedience through intimidation. Respect creates cooperation through trusting your leadership. Fear makes them think, what's going to happen to me if I don't listen? Respect makes them think, what does the person I trust think is the right thing here? The third mistake is treating your kid like they're your buddy instead of someone you're supposed to be raising. You're so focused on being their friend, on being the cool parent, on making sure they like you, that you've basically given up on actually being their parent. You share way too much about your own stuff. You ask their opinion on decisions that aren't theirs to make. You run the family like it's a democracy where everyone gets an equal vote. Kids don't respect their friends the same way they respect leaders. Your child already has friends at school. They don't need you to be another one. They need you to be someone who knows more than they do, who can handle things they can't, who makes the tough calls so they don't have to carry that weight. When you erase that parent-child structure, you don't get closer. You lose their respect. The fourth mistake is not calling out disrespectful behavior from the start. At some point, you decided eye-rolling was just normal kid stuff. You let talking backslide as just a phase. You allowed your kid to completely ignore you without any consequences because you didn't want to make it a big thing. But here's the problem. Those small signs of disrespect are what build up to the bigger stuff. The kid who learns they can dismiss you with an eye roll at 7 becomes the teenager telling you to shut up at 14. You've got to address disrespect the second it happens, every time. Not by yelling, not with a long lecture, with calm, immediate consequences. That tone isn't acceptable. Go to your room until you're ready to speak respectfully. When you roll your eyes at me, you're choosing to lose screen time today. I don't speak to you that way, and you don't speak to me that way. Try again. The fifth mistake is not modeling respect yourself. You can't demand your kids speak respectfully to you while you're screaming at them. You can't expect them to listen to you if you never listen to them. Kids learn from what they see you do. If you want respect, you have to show them what respect actually looks like through your own behavior. This doesn't mean you're equals, though. It means you hold yourself to a standard. You apologize when you mess up. You stay calm even when you're angry. You acknowledge their feelings even when you can't change the situation. You talk to them the way you want them to talk to you. Respect has to flow down from you before it flows back up. Now let's talk about actually fixing this, because just knowing about the problem doesn't change anything. If your kid doesn't respect you right now, you're going to have to rebuild your authority from scratch. This isn't going to be fun or comfortable. Your kid's going to push back hard because the current system works great for them. But if you stay consistent, you can turn this around. Step 1 is deciding you deserve respect and then acting like it. Stop asking for things you should be telling them to do. Stop negotiating stuff that isn't negotiable. Stop explaining yourself to death. "Because I said so" gets a bad reputation, but sometimes that's exactly the right answer. State what you expect clearly and confidently, then move on. Step 2 is becoming absolutely consistent with follow-through. This is the hardest part, because you have to enforce consequences even when you're tired, even when it's inconvenient, even when you'd really rather just let it go. If you say one more outburst and we're leaving the park, and there's one more outburst, you leave the park. No extra warnings, no second chances. You do exactly what you said you were going to do. Start small if you need to. Pick 1 or 2 boundaries that really matter and become completely consistent about them. Don't try to fix everything overnight. Get really good at being consistent with a couple things first, then add more. The goal is for your kid to learn that your words actually mean something, that when you set a boundary, it's going to stick, that testing you is pointless because you'll calmly follow through every single time. Step 3 is dealing with disrespect immediately and consistently. Zero tolerance for eye-rolling, talking back, ignoring you, or dismissive behavior. First time it happens, 1 clear warning. That was disrespectful. You get 1 chance to fix it. If it happens again, consequence. Every single time. No exceptions because they're having a bad day, or they're tired, or they didn't mean it. The consequence doesn't need to be some elaborate punishment. Losing a privilege for the day, time in their room alone, earlier bedtime. What matters way more than the specific consequence is that you're consistent about it. Your kid needs to learn that disrespectful behavior immediately costs them something, and that cost isn't up for debate. Step 4 is repairing things without backing down. You're going to mess up. You'll snap when you meant to stay calm. You'll be inconsistent because you're human. When this happens, apologize for how you acted without changing the boundary. "I'm sorry I yelled. That wasn't okay." But the boundary stays the same. Homework needs to be done before you play. This shows them accountability without undermining your authority. Step 5 is catching them being respectful and acknowledging it. "I really appreciated that you accepted my answer without arguing. Thank you for using a kind tone when you disagreed with me." What you pay attention to increases. When you notice and point out respectful behavior, you'll see more of it. You also need to think about whether you're actually giving your kid reasons to respect you beyond just being their parent. Do you keep your promises? Are you there when they need you? Do you have your own life together? Or are you a mess they can't rely on? Respect isn't only about enforcement, it's also about being someone worth respecting, someone who's competent, reliable, and present. The hard reality is that rebuilding respect takes time. If you've spent years being inconsistent, apologetic, and friend-like, your kid isn't going to suddenly respect you just because you decided they should. They're going to test these new boundaries really hard. They'll escalate their behavior to see if you really mean it this time. That's totally normal. Hold your ground, stay consistent. Things will get worse before they get better, but they will get better if you don't give up. Expect major pushback. Expect meltdowns. Expect your kid to tell you they liked the old you better. Keep going. What they're really saying is, "I liked it better when I could get my way by wearing you down." Your job isn't to be liked. Your job is to raise a functioning human who can respect authority, keep relationships, and succeed in a world that isn't going to cater to them like you have been. Remember, respect isn't about controlling your kid. It's about teaching them that some people's guidance matters, some boundaries are real, and some leadership can be trusted. Eventually, your kid is going to have teachers, bosses, coaches, romantic partners. How well they can respect authority is going to affect a huge part of their success in life. You're not demanding respect for your ego. You're teaching an essential life skill. The parent-child relationship is supposed to be unequal. You have more experience, more knowledge, more responsibility. That's not unfair. It's how it's supposed to work. Your kid doesn't need you to give up being the parent. They need you to own that role with confidence and care. Stop waiting around for respect to magically appear. Stop hoping your kid will just grow into it. Respect gets created through what you do every day, your consistent boundaries, and your willingness to be the adult even when it's uncomfortable. You teach people how to treat you. If you don't like how your kid's treating you, change what you're teaching them.